Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Enter the Ether, the podcast all about the upcoming third-person MOBA Ethereal Clash of Souls. I'm your host, the Mangoose. Joining me, as always, is my friend and co-host, JellyKnees. How you doing, Jelly?
I'm good. I don't need you peering into my soul, though. Thank you very much. Jesus.
I gotta show off the baby blues every now and then, you know?
Occasionally, I guess, man.
Saying,
how are you doing, Mangoose?
I'm doing great because we got some great news out of you guys. Something that I thought was kind of, for lack of a better word, ghetto. The X's on the on the rocks, like it looked like somebody just hand painted the rocks that you could crush. Are now it looks much better. It's like cracks, like blue cracks on destructible portions of the environment that berserkers can wipe out.
Wow. So all the work I did walking around the map, painstakingly putting X's on all the rocks, Mangoose, and you don't like them.
Did you use Leah and just dip her feathers in paint and go like that?
And then whip the camera back and forth, hopefully hitting the X on both sides with her wings. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, right on.
But yeah, no, those were always placeholder. There was no way we were going to just leave X's on there, right?
Yeah, no.
But the cracks look so good, and like in game, it's just so much more. It's more distinct for one thing, and no matter what angle you're looking at, you don't have to worry about like, is there an X on this rock? You could just be like, there's cracks very clearly, and that applies to the jungle camps that can break too.
Yeah, I didn't know that could break.
Exactly. There you go.
I broke through the back end of one because there was an X on the rock. I didn't even think that I could have gone through the front of it too.
Anything with cracks can be broken through with the Berserker ability. So they weren't in the images that were released or the video, but behind, don't you dare. I don't know where you're going with it, but I know it's not good. But behind both wyvern pits, there's like a dragon statue. You can actually break that and jump straight out the back of the wyvern pits as well. So
very
if
nice.
it's got blue cracks, it can break.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's a weird thing to break the back of the fire wyvern cave, especially because then you get the light from the sky entering the cave, and it just like lights up the whole cave a different way, and it feels so different. Like it just by itself, it's like, whoa, this is cool.
That is really cool that you got the lighting is set up and everything so that it pours through once you break that piece of the environment. The animation looks better too, from what I could tell. The actual breaking shit animation.
The whole thing has kind of gotten a facelift because that was when it first went out for that last stress test. It was basically just implemented, tested a couple times by the testers, and then the stress test went out. Whereas now it's been a more fleshed out thing that we've gone in and said, okay, what needs to change? How do we need to do this? Because during the last stress test, if you broke a rock, it exploded, but your entire screen was rocks for 2 seconds while it exploded outwards. And that's just not conducive to gameplay, especially when you're trying to like bust through and go for somebody and not being able to see them. So we turned them into that like translucent blue, matching the crack color as well. And then they slowly fade out over time. The craziest thing is when you're standing somewhere else and you see like a blue rock and you're like, oh my God, like someone just burst a rock out of nowhere. It's such a cool feeling to like know what just happened across certain areas of the map.
I'm really looking forward to playing Iran again. Smashing some stuff up.
Yeah. It's so much more fun now.
Really, I'm amazed that you guys did this so fast. I mean, you guys keep doing everything so quick.
I
don't know how you guys.
We're churning it out.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it.
I'm not saying it's not going to take us 7 months to put an update out, but it's not going to take us 7 months to put an update out.
Is that shots fired? Is that shots fired?
I would never fire shots. Not on this show, at least. I'll wait till ETE for that one.
Right on. I love it. Oh, so just quick reminder to everybody, stress test this weekend.
Yep.
December
Saturday 18th, 9 a.m. Pacific.
Specific
so 11 a.m.
time.
11 a.m.
at 9 a.m.
Central.
Specifically.
Yes. Pacific.
Yes. Okay, awesome. And then we can all get in there and break some rocks.
Absolutely.
Or fly around or do whatever we want to do. Man, tried to hold hold all the jokes in, talking about breaking cracks. I got through it though. I got through it. So,
Trust me, I'm sure I've heard them all from internal. We
yeah,
make the same
yeah,
jokes.
I bet. So, so let's move forward from the rock breaking and talk about some stuff that you sent me. We're going to talk about the familiars and the primary spells, which I think confuses a lot of people, and it was very hard to see it in game, but you guys redesigned the menu, the UI for character select, and it's a lot more clear what you're picking up, and I think it'd be easier to mouse over. Like it was on the side, it was like a drop down. You could barely tell what you were looking at, and now it's very clear up front and center what you're going to be picking for your familiar and your primary spells. And now the familiar spells, they're eventually will have an actual familiar attached to them. Yeah.
Correct. So all the familiars, the current ones and then future ones will all have like a creature attached to them. We've seen images, the owl, the dragon, the rat, the robot, whatever it is. They'll all have a creature attached to them. And then that creature will be how in game you signify what familiar the enemy took, because you can see the little dragon flying around.
Right.
And so very quickly at a glance, you can go, oh, okay, they took whatever class of familiar that's going to be.
Right on, right on. And then, so let's go over the familiar spells right now. And we've got the assault, the generic assault.
Mm-hmm.
So the passive is deal 5 extra damage on all attacks. And the active, your next damaging attack or ability within 10 seconds deals an additional 6% of the target's max health. You heal for 80% of the bonus damage dealt. Cooldown 90 seconds. So this isn't, I mean, I think the passive is going to have more of an effect than the active, with the active being on 90 seconds. But every 90 seconds being able to get some additional damage and a little bit of a heal off that. I don't think it's so crazy that it's going to be broken and that you have to take assault to be good. I don't think it's any better than anything. I think this could have been way more overpowered than it looks. That's what I'm trying to get to in a very roundabout way. But I really like this. I think I used this a few times, and that extra 5 extra damage on all attacks, it really helps you get last hits too.
Mm-hmm. And that's basically what it's meant for. Is this is going to be the familiar that most often the carries take, or the marksman, and that 5 extra damage helps them with that. It helps them poke a little bit more on their basic attacks, but mostly it's for that last hit, that you can last hit just a little bit earlier than you could before, helping you kind of keep that momentum going. And then as for the active ability, you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's not crazy strong. It could have been way worse. But it's a good kind of sustain mechanic in lane. If you, let's say an Aran ganks your lane, right? Aran is inherently tanky, so you're dealing more damage to him because it does targets max health damage. And then that gives you a little bit of health to just survive that little bit longer in lane, or survive just enough to get more gold before you back. It's just that little bit of sustain that you need to keep on going.
Right. And my question is, it says abilities too. What if you land this? What if you activate this and then landed like an AoE on like 3 people? Does it deal it to all of them?
On all the people.
And you get the heal too.
And you get the heal for all the damage dealt. So there is a little like skill discrepancy in this ability, because if you, for instance, one of the abilities that we noticed it being really good on, not broken, but really good, is Leah's crashing dive. If she dumps on somebody, lands on 3 myths to knock them in the air with this ability active, it does a ton of damage, it heals her, and it knocks them up. And it's just, it's disgusting when you get hit by it sometimes.
So I was thinking either Noxus or Dante's grenade. Like, instead of using it on his basic attack, throw a grenade and hit both Marina and the enemy Dante. And
that would work too. Dante's Q that goes through enemies, each hit applies. So there are a bunch of different combinations with abilities that you can use this active on that make it really good. But again, it's not broken. It's because it's a one-time use, right? And if you are playing carefully and dodge these abilities, it's a lot harder to hit abilities sometimes than it is a basic attack. So it's finding that sweet spot of when they cast it and when you dodge and all those things.
Okay. So does this apply to towers, the 6%?
It does not.
Okay.
It used to. And that was broken, so
I
we
was gonna
very
say
quickly
that would be
removed
broken.
it.
Every 90 seconds, you get 6% of the tower's health gone.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was nuts.
All right, that's a good one. The old assault familiar. Let's move on to the next, which is the demolition.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this one. While under any turret or spire, I guess that would be either yours or an enemy turret or spire, you gain 10 increased armor and magic resist. If the turret or spire is destroyed, the effects are lost. So, pretty good tower dive defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's meant for those people that are good either under tower or diving towers, and that you get just that little bit more sustain via that armor and magic resist.
So again, Leah. So Leah's gotta choose. She can't take both the assault and the demolition. She's gotta choose between the two.
Yep, absolutely.
She's the one I see dive towers by far the most.
Absolutely. I
mean, she can literally dive.
An aerial dive. I mean, you're gonna dive towers, right? Like,
yeah.
That's also how I've seen a lot of Leah's die is diving towers.
Oh
like
God,
that.
yeah,
So.
yeah. Oh, most definitely. Then the active give ally minions near you 10 armor and magic resist for 10 seconds. So you just make your minions a little beefier for 10 seconds, which once you shove them under a tower, that would be great.
Yeah, and so that, and it can mess with enemies' last hits, because a sudden 10 armor is a big deal because the minions don't have armor naturally. So giving them 10 armor means that you could throw off a last hit or two, or someone's like in the groove of last hitting, it completely throws off their groove, like Emperor Cusco, and then they're just screwed, man. Like it's such a fun ability to mess with people on.
Break out the spinach puffs. I love the art on this too. I love the little knight guy with his shield.
Little minion, yeah.
Take that, me. Love it. All right, let's move on now to the Guardian. Passive, your mana regeneration is increased by 5 per 5 seconds, so 5 MP5. And then the active, reduce your cooldown timers on all your basic abilities by 1 second. Cooldown 90 seconds. Again, pretty damn good. Could be overpowered if it was balanced a little differently, but I think it's in that sweet spot. It's people, I think, vastly underestimate cooldown reduction, and being able to do this every 90 seconds, just even if it's just 1 second, that's amazing. Yeah. Think about how many times, like, oh, if I just had my shield up, I could have saved this guy.
On any low cooldown abilities, this is a game changer, because like Malaya Q, for instance, is a pretty low cooldown ability. If she can get her Q up again and start bleeding people again, that's huge. Leah Q is a low cooldown ability. Same kind of concept. Marina shields because of the charges. Like there are so many abilities that benefit from even just 1 second of cooldown just immediately. And not only does it benefit that one ability, but it benefits your others as well that are basic abilities, because it's all of your basics. So if you do a rotation through of your abilities and then use this, your short cooldown abilities coming up pretty quickly, and then your other ones are still coming up faster than they were before. And it's, when used correctly, it feels really good. This is another one though that's got a little bit of a skill discrepancy, because if you use one ability and use this, you're only getting 1/3 of the benefits of what you could be getting.
Try and use it when every ability is on cooldown.
Exactly. So yeah, do a rotation of your abilities, face roll your keyboard, and then press the C button, and then you're good to go.
And the 5 MP5 ain't nothing to sniff at too. That's pretty good.
Yeah, for especially someone like Marina, because now she can get mana regeneration. She doesn't have to build it as early anymore, but also has a lower cooldown on her shield or her heal or her pool or any of those kind of things.
Now, I like how you did it correctly. The on the icon, the arrow is winding the clock forwards a little bit. Because at first I looked at it, I was like, shouldn't that be going the other way? I was like, no, it is pushing a second off. It is daylight savings time.
Yeah, Mangoose, don't doubt our artists. Gosh.
I wasn't doubting the artist, I was doubting you.
I didn't make it. I mean, yes, I totally made it. Now that you like it, 100% me. I did it.
Ah, yeah.
Don't hunt me down now.
And then we have the reinforced familiar. This is probably the one that I use the most. whenever we played last. Passive, damaging an enemy myth with a basic attack or ability will heal you for 25 plus 5% missing health, cooldown 90 seconds. So you don't activate this, just every 90 seconds you're able to heal a bit off of somebody.
Yeah,
And then
it's for tanks or pretty much offlaners as a whole. This is a really good one because you can poke your offlaner, get a little bit of that health regen, especially if you have regrowing moss as well. You can stay in lane for a decent amount of time extra if you have reinforce and regrowing moss.
yeah. And then the active, shield yourself for 50 plus 50% of your max health. That lasts 3 seconds or until broken. Cooldown 120 seconds. This saved my ass so many times.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Especially,
you cannot underestimate this shield. It is, it's very good. Very good.
15% of your max health can get to be really high on someone like Iran.
Yeah.
Right? Because he has essentially infinite scaling health with his passive. If he goes a full health build with items as well, he can get upwards of 5,000 health. 15%, he will just snuff off abilities like they're nothing because he'll just walk around, no big deal, grabbing people, tossing them off the edge.
Oh yeah, it's such a nice shield. I know it saved me on Marina, it saved me on Talos. I like this one. I probably should have been taking the MP5 one on Marina, but I just gravitated towards this as like an oh shit button.
I mean, it is a very good good oh shit button.
Yeah,
right.
I like
being able to just and I'm okay. Thanks though.
Now, are there going to be more familiars in the future?
Yes.
Or are there just going to be different animals for these?
There's actually planned to have more familiars for each of the classes. So assault, demolition, guardian, and
Reinforce.
Protect. Reinforce. Thank you. So there will be more for each of those classes, and they will each fit that theme in whatever they're going to be doing.
Okay, right on. Cool beans. So moving on from that, let's get into the primary spells.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these are ones that everybody can take, but the thing with the primary spells, the masks and the marks are included with the primary spells. So if you do take a mask or a mark, you still got to buy it.
Yes. So when you take a mask or a mark, you get a tier 0 version of the mask or mark, and they have basically weakened down effects of what the item itself has. But in order to buy the item, you have to take the tier 0 primary spell.
Okay.
So if you want the mark, you have to take the mark as your primary spell. Otherwise, it won't even show up in your shop. You can't buy it. You can't see it. Doesn't exist for you. So if you're a jungler, you have to take the mark. Don't take assault thinking you're going to be able to do it, because you won't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I didn't even know that you got any benefit whatsoever. I thought if you didn't buy the item, you didn't get anything.
It's a very weak version. It's basically nothing, but it's a, like, if you really decided not to purchase the item for whatever reason, then technically you have some use case out of it.
Okay.
For the mark,
Right on.
it's like 100 damage on the mark ability, which is basically nothing. And for the mask, the downside on the mask is worse. If you take the mask but don't build the mask, your gold is halved. Your just general gold income is halved, because the mask items increase your passive gold, but the tier 0 mask does not.
Oh.
So you just are getting less gold by not buying a mask. So please, if you take the mask, buy the mask.
So if you want to activate hard mode,
God,
you want to
I think hard mode's putting it lightly.
Oh, okay. Primary spell. It just says primary spell. Active, increased damage. Okay, let me look, see what this was. Okay, assault primary spell. The image just says primary spell.
You're right.
The active, increased damage and attack speed by 5% for 3 seconds. Cooldown 90 seconds. Pretty straightforward, pretty awesome for anybody that wants to deal a bunch of damage real fast.
Yep, absolutely. It's a good little burst. You do more damage, attack a little bit faster. If you're trying to take a tower, if you're trying to secure a kill, whatever it may be, it's a good little item, or a good little spell for you.
And again, it's not overpowered. 5% is nice, but it's not like this is going to win out over other stuff depending on the situation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like you wouldn't just take this instead of a mark in the jungle. I wouldn't
Yeah,
think.
no.
Yeah.
No, the benefit of the
Ugh.
mark, the benefit of the mark is you actually heal by dealing damage to jungle camps. So if
Right.
you don't take the mark and you're going into the jungle, you're going to take so much more damage from these camps
Which I did.
because you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to take those camps. I'm tired of carries taking my camps, Mangoose. I've
Oh,
now built it
really?
into Ethereal. They can't do it without a mark. Sucks to be them.
All right. And the next one is the demolition primary spell, which is reduce armor by 15% on structures and jungle camps for 3 seconds. So if I do want to steal your jungle camps, I should probably take this one.
Great.
So 15% armor reduction on structures every 60 seconds. That seems pretty damn powerful.
It's pretty strong. It's not crazy because it's only for 3 seconds, right?
Right.
So it's another timing thing. If you pop it the second you get under tower range, you're maybe gonna get 1 or 2 basic attacks in there. But if you wait until your attack's about to land and then press the button and it immediately lowers it, then you benefit the most out of it. So it's finding that good balance of when to press the button.
And this is an effect on tower. So if you had minions with you, they're going to be dealing extra damage to the tower as well.
Correct. It's not just you. You're actually lowering the tower's resistances across the board.
Yeah. So, I mean, somebody else is there with you, and then the minions give Noxus a way to finally take down towers. If she can melt minions.
And the other thing is jungle camps. So it's not just the little camps. That includes wyverns and atropos.
Ooh, nice.
So both of those, and that's another one, by lowering the resistances, then you can you can land big attacks on them to execute if you don't have a mark, if your jungler died or something, right? You have some other options that you can use to take those camps.
Right. And it would just benefit your team too, because again, it's a debuff on the target, so your entire team's going to be dealing an extra amount of damage to it. Nice. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I love how they're all kind of strong in their own regard. They each have their niche that they're strong in, and that helps them separate like what you want to do. If you want to push down towers, you take the demolition primary spell. If you want to attack slightly faster and do more damage, you take the assault primary spell. Like they each have their niche.
Right. I think I would probably take this on Noxus, and then that would help me help the team out with large objectives, but it would also help me get that tower down.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Guardian primary spell. Active shields you or an ally for 15% of your max health for 3 seconds. So it's not their max health, it's your max health. Correct. If you decide to shield an ally.
So this would be something if you were playing, I don't know, a Ron support, because people want to do that for some reason, and you're building nothing but health, you're now giving other people a % max health shield of your max health. So again, get around to that 5,000 health threshold, put a shield on the Dante. Now Dante can go ham for a while without taking any concerns. Like that's really strong if used correctly.
People would not be expecting that either. A Dante with
I'd be so mad if I was Malaya diving a Dante, be like, he's mine, no big deal. And and he's got a 15% Aran shield. Wait a second. No. This is Aran doesn't have a shield for a reason. What is this nonsense?
Yeah. That would be really good. And I mean, you could use it on yourself too, but when I see this, my mind goes down, shielding an ally and that's in dire need of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've
seen it opens a lot of team play.
With our testers, I've seen it used as that, like Dante's one hit and they perfectly drop the shield on him and he gets away because it was the perfect thing to just save his life. So it's absolutely doable. Very cool. Very cool. We're going to, like, years down the road when there's Ethereal esports, we're going to see some crazy plays with this. Absolutely. If it hasn't been changed by then. Aran support is meta. You have to change the ability because Aran's too strong with it. All right, I'm gonna skip over the mark and the mask and go straight to reinforce primary spell, which is increase your armor and magic resist by 10% for 3 seconds. Cooldown 75 seconds. Again, this would be absolutely huge. That 10%. If you're already stacking a bunch of armor, like I'm thinking Talos with his stacks. We saw in extreme cases, to be sure, right? full build, like 55-minute game of Talos with full 10 stacks of his passive, and then he ults and then pops this, he can break 500 armor. Like this,
Yeah.
the guy becomes essentially unkillable at that point because he just has no problem walking in there, doing all the damage and taking none of it back.
You know what it seems like to me is a great tower dive item again.
Mm-hmm. If you are coordinating with your team correctly with some of these spells and familiars, you can get some really strong combinations of utilization going off.
Right.
That you can buff your minions under the tower, you can debuff the tower, then you buff yourself. So if you're doing a tower dive, right, you buff yourself, have an ally shield you with the guardian primary spell, and then it just all stacks up from there. You can get really cohesive team dives or team ganks on people that way.
Right. It seems to me, it seems like an MMO sort of thing to me, sort of team play, because like we would do that back in the old Warcraft days. Like somebody was going to debuff the boss, they would let people know like debuff coming in 3 seconds, and that's when I knew to pop all my cooldowns that would increase my damage and all that stuff. I can imagine like somebody with the assault primary spell that's going to increase their damage by 5%. If you're on like a Tropos or something, somebody calls out, "Hey, I'm about to use the demolition active," and then you coordinate those so that you're getting even more damage out of both of those. So I can see a lot of great team play coming out of these spells.
And that's what I can't wait for, like coordinated teams to start coming out for Ethereal because of that kind of concept. Because you know that they're going to flesh it all out and have those locked in, that they're taking a tower, they're taking a Tropos, they're taking whatever they want. And it's just going to be, like you said, like an MMO where they're, okay, debuff, okay, buff, okay, this, okay, heal, okay, shield. Like just one after the other. It's going to be really cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. And with 6 people, makes it even better.
Yep. It's going to make shot callers' jobs that much harder.
Yeah. I'm not going to be a shot caller. And let's move on to Mark.
Yeah.
Primary spell, Mark. Mark a neutral monster for death, dealing 300 plus 15 per myth level true damage. Cooldown 50 seconds. So this is just the flat Mark, right? Or is this the one that you purchase?
This is the tier 0. So this would be the tier 0. And so that's what you're going to have very base. And then each level you purchase up increases that slightly. So it helps a little bit more.
And then once you purchase the actual Mark, that's when you start getting healing off of it, right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. Very
healing,
cool.
You get the stats from the item of the Mark itself, and then you get the benefit of the passive or the active part of it as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I'm glad to see that it at least does something if you forget to buy your Mark. Like I did.
Mangoose.
I thought I was going to be supporting. And speaking of supporting, the mask. The mask on cast gain back 5% of your maximum mana. Now, this doesn't say anything about the gold, though.
Because this is the tier 0, remember. The tier 0 doesn't give you extra gold. You have to buy the mask, the tier 1 and up, to get the passive gold generation.
Okay, so I was thinking that it was kind of like one of those things where a lot of support items, you get 50% less gold from actually killing minions.
That is yourself. Actually the case on here. So it does reduce your, it's not just minions you kill, it's also proximity gold is reduced.
Okay.
So it's that should be on here. It is not, but that is how that works.
Okay. Right on. So yeah, definitely don't pick mask and then not buy the mask.
Yeah, you will get significantly less gold, and then I'll see people in Discord complaining about how supports get no gold. I don't know any supports that complain about not getting gold in third-person MOBAs, Mangoose. I want to hear it. I want to see you buy a tier 3 mask and then complain to me about it. But if I check your match history and you don't have a tier 3 mask and you're complaining, I'm not going to listen to you.
I will always complain that I don't get enough gold as a support. Supports just start at max build.
There you go. Yeah. Balanced. That's totally balanced.
If 5% of your max mana, even if you don't pick up the actual mask, that's pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
I can see myself definitely tracking the shit out of this so I can maximize. Because I don't see myself ever not hitting that button unless I'm for some reason at full mana at 180 seconds in, you know?
Yeah. And which, if you're playing Marina, you're almost never going to be at full mana because
Right.
you're spamming those shields and heals and slows and all that nonsense. Iran rarely at full mana because he's going to be poking people with the meatball, right? So the supports that are in there, Talos, um, don't play Talos support. That's all I got for you. But so
Does it give him 5% of his stamina back?
it does not, or at least I don't think so. I've never tested it because Talos support shouldn't exist.
Well, the last time we played, I picked up some MP5 items on Talos, and
I got bad news, Mangoose.
oh, you fixed it? No!
I got bad news,
Oh
Mangoose.
man, I was just walking around doing whatever the hell please don't tell us.
And you may or may not be the reason we fixed it because of that.
Damn it, I should have kept my big mouth shut.
Yeah, usually. I mean,
Ugh. No longer spamming abilities on Talos. Oh well. Still a great item. Just not on Talos, I guess. But I mean, what's Talos doing taking a mask? Like you said, he's not a great support. I'm still going to try to support with him, but he's not a great support.
if I ever get into a game and you're the enemy Talos support, I'm going to make your life living hell.
That's
I don't
what
care
you
what
think.
lane I'm in. I don't care what else is going on. I will come in there as Malaya, press my shield, wait for you to try and CC me, not be able to do it, and then just kill you. I don't endorse this. I don't endorse this at all.
That's not going to happen. I'm just going to keep beating you in the face until you pop your shield.
Oh, whatever.
All right. I'll put a big old bleed on you. That's what I'll do.
Ugh.
Hopefully I've got a good Dante to knock you down.
I have to wait and see. Team JellyKnees is always better.
All right. Well, I think that's all we had to cover for this evening, unless you had anything else.
Nothing directly. I mean, keep an eye out. We're going to release patch notes sometime in the next couple days before the stress test of everything that changed between the last stress test and this one. And there's a lot. I think I was talking to Skifter the other day, and we've changed or modified like 110 things since the last stress test. So there's so many changes. Like I couldn't even remember them all off the top of my head if I wanted to. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to list everything we can remember, but we're going to go through all of our changes and try and track them all down. Lots of good stuff.
I will say the thing that I was most excited about was Patreon, so we can't talk about it, but
join the Patreon.
That was nice.
There's a cool thing on there.
It's nice. You guys will like it. You guys will like it once you see it. Oh man. But all right, I think that's going to about wrap it up. You got anything to plug, Jelly?
Streams. You know, I stream on Mondays. Even though we're recording this on a Monday and I didn't stream, I usually stream on Mondays. Or Marvelous Monday, 8 o'clock Mountain Time. And I've got to say it like that every time now, Mangoose.
Thank you.
Mountain Time. And yeah, what about you, Mangoose?
I hit 12K subscribers today. I've been hovering at 11,900 something for like fucking months now. I finally broke the 12K, so I'm pretty proud of myself. Thank you guys for everybody that's watching this right now and has subscribed to my channel. Very much appreciated. Just gives me hope and keeps me going doing all this. So thanks, guys.
And
Gee, mister.
Remember, the stress test is on Saturday. If you are not signed up for the newsletter, please go ahead and do so. We've had almost 500 people sign up since the announcement of the second stress test.
Ooh, really?
500 new people. Yeah.
So this community is growing. The Ethereal community is growing.
So it's really cool to see that. I was checking the numbers yesterday and I was amazed. I knew it had gone up, but I didn't realize by that much in 2 weeks.
Man, that's great.
So yeah, I was super excited.
So if you get a key, be there or don't be there. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But I hope if you do get a key that you show up and test that out. And I'm really glad that the people that won the giveaway from me last time are going to get in there and mix it up and have a good time.
Yeah. it should be fun.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. And if you get a key, hit us up. I'd love to play with just anybody. Just hit me up. Add me to friends on the launcher, whatever. What do you call it?
We call it the client, but yeah.
On the client.
The launcher, the client, either way.
Add me on the client so we could get together and bust up that crack in Malaya's ass. Hope you all join us. Everybody's going to wonder why we're laughing so hard as we enter the ether.